on here. Go ahead.
So what's been the biggest issues, defensively? Or what did you see out of the defense tonight?
Well, first of all, that's a good football team we were playing. And our defense in the first half, we couldn't get anything going offensively. To really, you're down 2 scores at halftime with a couple fourth down stops that we needed to get. We did it, but we gave them some shorter fields without being able to move the football offensively too. And so we couldn't. It all works hand in hand. They're an experienced team with an experienced quarterback that can move around. The running back is an excellent player. We hit him. He always fell forward, whether it was single tackle or double tackles or gang tackling. So, there's things that you see in that game. But I think our guys continue to play hard for the whole game. But I got to take a look at it and see. But those guys in the rotation up front, we had to because of the amount of time that they had the football, it just we just didn't get it done.
Can you explain the decision to start Grant instead of Khalil?
Same thing during the week, yep, and just practice during the week and the execution. So that's what we did. No different than we've talked about the whole year.
Was there any thought given to giving Khalil the start because it was senior night?
And we just, they're seniors. We paid tribute to him. He's a senior like the other seniors that were out there. Some played, some didn't start.
Firing or dismissing Coach Yona a couple of days ago. Can you explain the rationale behind
Yeah,
that?
the statement was a statement. That's I issued a statement, and I'll just leave it at that.
Did that create any logistical challenges or anything, doing it a couple of days before the game?
I don't think so. I think the rotation was what it was up front. I thought that, just from the sideline and from the naked eye, I thought that Miles and Trayvon were playing hard in there and made stops. So the rotation, Mikey was in there. Those guys played a lot of guys up front in a game like this. So, from that standpoint, from a playing standpoint, and, I didn't think it hurt us at all.
Were you hopeful that the goal line stand at the end of the first half could maybe spark the team?
Yes. I thought it was, got some momentum coming out of there. You saw Miles barely make it off the field, right? So those guys are playing as hard as they can play. And I thought that would spark it, then you come back out and we let them drive the length of the field. And really that was the biggest momentum change in the whole game.
Have these last few games kind of pointed out just how important it was having that healthy and experienced line compared to having that?
There's no doubt, particularly against a team like, there's a bunch of NFL players on the other team. They're a really good football team. That doesn't excuse, the score of the game. But certainly, with a line that is not our best, created some issues for us, obviously, tonight, but schematically for the things that we can do.
Can you recall a situation where you had a completely different line from one week to the next with not a single player playing the same position?
No, and it's not because of ability. It's because of injury, so with a center that started every game, since I've been here, and Cody Creason being out with injuries, and then we lost 2 more last week, in Jordan Morgan and Peyton Fears. So those guys are out with injuries, and from that situation, it's not that we're shuffling people around because of how they've played. It's because we don't have them, and we've got 4 or 5 guys out. And that was why there's been a different line. We've lost guys for the last 4 or 5 weeks, right? So those guys are battling and doing the best they can, and So, that's where we are, and hopefully we'll get a couple of those guys back this week.
Tony Field said the ASU game is your bowl game. How quickly do you and the team turn your attention?
Yeah, we talked about that in the locker room, and what we wanted tonight for our seniors didn't happen, and we talked about that being next week, and what we can do for our seniors is to get the cup back, and so that's where our focus and our attention is to clean up things tonight, and move on to Arizona State, and I think that message was heard by our team.
When you took over this job, did you ever envision going 2 straight years without
No.
a bowl game?
Never.
What do you think has led to that happening?
Well, there's a lot of things, and it's not just one thing. So, that's my job to right the ship. And no, I never thought about it that way.
Tonight you guys had some recruits in. What do you tell recruits with the program and how it's going?
No, I think it's we're just talking about that a few minutes ago with those guys. Those guys are here on official visit capacities, and some guys unofficially. And in times like this, it might look a little different. There's a bunch of those guys that are here with the early signing date that see that the opportunity to really help early, and that's really the message, because we've got a lot of combination of freshmen and first-year players that they're out there playing for us right now, and we've got obviously some holes to fill, and those guys can have an immediate impact on this football program.
Did you see what happened with Tony's unsportsmanlike penalty?
No, it was a lot of stuff going on early in the game. They had a couple unsportsmanlike penalties, some late hits, some pushing and shoving after. The game started that way and continued for a while. So, I really didn't see what happened from that view, because there's a big pile of people in there pushing and shoving after the whistle.
Anything else for Coach?
Is there any positive that you take out of this game from anything that happened on the field?
Yeah, that's about it. There's not a whole lot of positives. All right, but there's guys continue to play and got the ball back and scored late, but that was against their second group. So, but no, in a situation like that, even against a really good football team, there weren't a whole lot of positives, and that's where we have to, as coaches, fix things and move on. And as I said, and as you brought up, our focus is on next week.
Thanks, everyone.
All right, thanks.